On a star-filled night, lulled by the screen's light, a boy was enjoying his internet time. Fueled by the curiosity that's seen in young folks, growing like a hungry bird inside his core, he searched and read and watched and dreamed. With every new platform and every new site, something new could be found, and observed and heard and learnt in the World Wide Web. What a wondrous time to be alive, sharing such a knowledge's ley line, one like the World Wide Web. Thousands, in fact, are the voices and facts taking root in such place, and around each and every one a culture may be born, shared by few, and eventually, inevitably, forgotten. It's in such a place that minds can thrive, or where bored ones can find amusement, such as our protagonist Henry, scouting for something new, something yet unseen. On a crowded social media site, gathering square of people and opinions, that's where he found it, the article that could change his life. A crude picture held next to a funny-sounding name was above the heading of the article, maybe a dummy account, meant as a throwaway after publicizing the set of rules to follow. Anyone with foresight would stray from following directions, especially those of such a dodgy origin. Yet the curious boy couldn't help but be captivated by the wording and the authoritarian timbre behind the man's writing. That is, as the game was given out in the form of a man speaking to you, with Henry's imagination shaping a figure around that profile picture he saw. The rules were simple, and in a numbered list. 1. Don't speak of the game with anyone. 2. The game is to be played alone, or the challenger is to be disqualified. 3. To start playing, one shall take a picture of themselves, holding a sign that said, "I wish to enter the game." Following was a set of contact information, pointing to a private account the challengers were to message. Scribbling fast the required message, a picture was taken by Henry, gulping in nervous anticipation before sending it. Before long, the empty chat box replied to his message. Entry accepted. Challenge number 1. It started as an obedience test, a mockingly easy task of Henry to cut off a tuft of his hair to show to the man by the other side, his one assigned inspector. Once completed, the second task came, and so on. They were fairly easy, and surely the gratification came in bits and pieces, with each completed entry being rewarded with the same message. Good job. Proceed to the next task. Challenge number. Soon, a sinister aspect surfaced, that of an increased thrill in each challenge. It began with stealing some money, breaking into houses at night, taking pictures of people without them noticing, and so on. With the bond growing deeper between Henry and his inspector, he felt as if he was improving, wanting to do more and better, despite only being rewarded with the same cold, good job. Soon the challenges turned to self-harm, asking for pictures of blood, self-inflicted wounds, or bruises. Fueled by the thrill of the forbidden, when told to do things everyone suggests you should avoid, Henry's interest took the shape of addiction, wishing for more of the rush received after completion of each entry. The time was ripe, and the final task was at hand. Good job. Proceed to the next task. Challenge number 100. The challenge was to take one's own life. Even to a young boy such as Henry, it seemed as a stupid thing to do, yet the description didn't contain any incentive to do so, merely focusing to describe the best ways to perform such extreme action. His eyes widened upon this forbidden text, things nobody would tell to the youth, knowledge he was amazed to see before his eyes. With a gulp and a shiver, he reached the end of the page, simply ending with a "good luck." He decided to try it, to please his inner curiosity. The next day, Henry took his own life, to please the inspector that he felt he had bonded with. Let this be a tale of caution, for the stain of corruption can be found in each and every corner of the world, no matter how safe it may appear. The question at hand is not whether it will affect the young minds yearning for knowledge, but rather, when. Time after school has a certain feeling to it. It's the moment in which a child can release the stress of the day, as the endless hours on the clock are finally spent, and one is allowed to go back home. It's in one of those days, gathering her coat, going back home on a cold winter day, that Carla noticed a change in her body. Her height, first and foremost, had been increasing. In the span of a couple years, she was now several inches taller, as pimples grew on her changing anatomy. With her face changing slightly, and her shapes becoming more definite, she ignored why the change was happening, in fact, failing to acknowledge a difference at all. Despite that, puberty has a cruel way to suggest to our brains the goals necessary for us to pursue. It whispers of wants and desires, of rebellion and affirmation of one's own personality. Oftentimes, these thoughts can take the shape of insecurity, such as Carla's, when she scrolled past the pictures of her friends on her social media accounts. Helen is so cute in that dress. Did she lose weight? And look at Cheryl, she has perfect hair. Why can't I have that too? When intrusive thoughts make us feel inadequate, oftentimes one can feel depressed, awkward, even inappropriate. The meal placed on your table becoming your enemy. Food is avoided, in hope to be as cute as Helen, or having skin as good as Angela. Soon, results came in scraps for Carla. A few centimeters on the waist were fast to lose, as her chin hung tighter and taller, unburdened by the stuffing of fat. As the clothes became wider, new ones had to be purchased to fit her new shape. As the approval of her peers increased, and so did her popularity, Carla's name was on everyone's lips, both in jealousy and admiration, as all the boys fawned over her and the girls wished to be her friend. However, things began to change yet again. Her parents, never failing to scold her for eating too little, started becoming apprehensive, beginning to look visibly concerned as they begged her to finish her meals. In school, the bright eyes of the boys became dull, their pupils narrow, as they observed, charred, someone that they used to like. It was easy for Carla to blind herself to all of this, closing herself in her circle of friends that shared her own insecurities, enabling her own behaviors. One day came the straw to break the camel's back. As the school bell notified the ending of lessons and Carla went to lift her backpack over her shoulder, she swooned, her vision blurring out. Waking up at the hospital, an awful itch in her arm, she came to her senses to concerned parents weeping by her bed, as she was being injected fluids into her arm by an IV bag to stabilize her condition. Her jaw dropped when noticing a mirror pointing in her direction from the wall by her side. In the reflection, in the same pose as her, a skeletal creature laid in the bed, as her parents surrounded it while crying. It was then when she desired to change. Having full meals was hard, after her stomach had been unused to it. Yet with some effort, Carla began eating again. Her skin gained color and the bones became hidden again under a round layer of skin. Without food indulgence in any of the two extremes of the scales, her life turned normal once again. Yet, on restless nights while laying in bed, sometimes she'll turn her head to the side, observing the mirror pointed at her. In that mirror, cadaveric, with dry skin and bulging veins, she'll see what used to be her body. Starved. In that vision, she'll find the resolve to be healthy and ignore the whispering voices of vanity seeping through the reality of social media addiction.